Hello, everybody, and thank you for stopping to take a listen. My name is Lisa Sue Woititz. I am a co-founder of the Recovery Movement for Adult Children of Alcoholics and the author of Unwelcome Inheritance, Break Your Family's Cycle of Addictive Behaviors. And this book builds on my mother's book, Adult Children of Alcoholics, which was released back in the 80s and is still as relevant today and as widely read today as it was when it first came out. My mother died in 1994, and since then, I've been doing my best to keep the work out there, but Unwelcome Inheritance builds on this body of work. So, since the audiobook is not out, I thought that I would just read to you on here. I hope you enjoy it. And with that, let's get into it. So, let's see. The book is dedicated to, first of all, it's a Hazelden book, and it was published in 2015 and written in memory of my friends Robbie, Stacy, and Brad, and Bill and Lois Wilson. More about that later. Then there's the dedication and the table of contents. I'll spare you those things. You can read them on your own if you decide to pick up the hard copy. The acknowledgments will go past. Let's start with the prologue. It's the end of another chaotic day of my own making. The sun has gone down, and I'm still at my desk, feeling whooped, wishing for an escape from the dread that closes in on me as the day fades away. At 50, isn't life supposed to be getting easier instead of harder? Instead, here I am, cleaning up the emotional and financial wreckage in the wake of a second divorce, with no light at the end of the tunnel anytime soon. When I scold myself for creating all of these problems, I can hear Mom respond, "But you came by it all honestly. You were set up for your troubles." In other words, she's telling me that many of my adult problems are the result of growing up in a home with alcoholism. It would be great if knowing that truth fixed everything, but it doesn't. It's going to take a ton of work on the inside and on the outside. Tired and full of self-pity and fear, I want to escape my feelings. I could zip around the corner and pick up a pint of ice cream, but I tell myself no. I wish that I could smoke a few hits of pot, and at the same time, I'm glad that I don't have any. If I did, I'd have to smoke it all. If I liked bars, I'd go out and order 2 Washington apples with Crown Royal whiskey instead of vodka. Just enough to take the edge off, but not enough to knock me on my ass. Pills aren't my thing either, although I did give them a fair try, by prescription, of course. Antidepressants make me feel suicidal. Anti-anxiety meds make me feel insane, and sleeping pills keep me awake. The classic paradoxical response that my mother believed children of alcoholics often have to medications. So here I just sit immobilized and alone in my thoughts, my brain like a tennis ball, being lobbed back and forth between fear and faith, between "it will be all right" and "OMG, I'm gonna die." 40 years of personal and professional education about alcoholism and its effects on those closest to the alcoholic have done so little to stop this disease from continuing to sink its claws into my family. The fact that my mother wrote the book that helped launch today's Adult Children of Alcoholics movement did not exempt me or my 2 brothers from the impact of growing up in a violent alcoholic household, nor did it stop me from recreating the chaos of my childhood in my own household, despite my solemn vows to the contrary. My little brother was born just a few months before my father got sober, so he doesn't remember alcoholism in our home, but as ACOAs know all too well, he also lived with the consequences of having an addicted parent. My older brother shared the trauma I recount in this book, but I feel that is his, not my story to tell. Unfortunately, my brother passed away a few months after this book was published. So the childhood experiences I relate are those seen through my eyes and from my perspective. However, I'm happy to report that thanks to what Mom taught us and so many others about what it means to be an ACOA, my siblings and I enjoy a healthy and close relationship today. And this was written 7 years ago. And at the moment, like I mentioned, that's not entirely true because my older brother passed away and my younger brother and I don't speak very often. How ironic that while Mom traveled the world helping ACOAs heal from their childhoods, she could not help me because one cannot be a therapist to her own child. Likewise, the fact that my father will soon celebrate 40 years of sobriety and is considered an old timer in recovery had deluded me into believing that I was somehow immune from the disease of addiction. And unfortunately, my father, well, he did celebrate 40 years, but he passed away this past April, just a few months ago. It took me decades to admit that intellectual knowledge is not healing, and it took many extra years for me to seek help because of the arrogance that can come with being the child of a celebrity. For so long, the self-destructive influences of the past seemed stronger than my ability to thwart them with self-respect and love. Now I can accept that the disease of addiction lives in my cells, a demon that waits patiently for my attention. With this reality always in mind, I renew my commitment to live in recovery on a daily basis, knowing that breaking the cycle of addictive behavior in my family begins with me. So that's the prologue. And I think I will stop here for the moment. And in the next video, I will continue with the introduction that talks a little bit about my mom's work and a little bit about what I'm trying to accomplish. And it's all sort of memoir intertwined with conversations between me and my mom. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that you will come back to listen to the next video. Thanks a lot and see you soon.